Okay. Today we're going to start from Amar Mar on 27b. We just completed a story here. Okay, we thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. In this class we're learning immediately. So we're learning for Shlema, for my father, and for Naftali ben Menuch Bela. And I had the surgery went well. And, Ariel, Gabriel, and Rachel Chaya. Okay. So Amar Mar. We learned in the Brisa previously that what happened was there was a person by the name of Ben Dama, and he was a nephew, the sister of Rabbi Shmuel's son. He was a nephew of Rabbi Shmuel, and he was bitten by a snake. And he asked Rabbi Shmuel to allow Yaakovish Kfar Sachnia to heal him. Yaakovish Kfar Sachnia was a heretic. And officially, you're not allowed to get healed by a heretic. There's a concern. There's several concerns. One concern is that maybe even if the person is going to die anyway, what's wrong? Go to the heretic. What's he gonna go to the idolater? What's wrong with the idolater? Idolater could shorten his life if he kills him right now. It's a concern of Chayisha. So we said that if the person is going to die anyway, so we're not concerned with Chayisha. We're not concerned that he's going to shorten his life. Because maybe if he's going to die, maybe he'll still get healed. It's worth the risk. That's what we said. We said it's worth the risk. We said it's really? Problem is, we don't see this by Rabbi Shmuel. He said that it's not worth the risk. That's what Gemara's question. He said that Ben Dama should not get healed by him. Gemara answers that no, it doesn't have to do with the risk of him shortening his life. It has to do with he wasn't an idolater, he was a heretic, and heresy is more dangerous. Maybe he's going to be pulled after it. Now, Amar Mar, what happened was when he passed away, Rabbi Shmuel said, "Oh, lucky are you, Ben Dama, that you're holy and your soul passed in holiness, because you said right away when he was passing away, he said that I could prove to you that it's mutter." And that right then his soul departed, so his soul left with the words mutter. And lucky are you that you sold with purity, and you did not violate the words of the sages that they say that anyone that, they quote the verse, that anyone that breaches the fence should be bitten by a snake. So now the master says, he did not violate the words of the sages that say that someone that breaches the fence should be bitten by a snake. Yunami, but 1 second, he was bitten by a snake. That was his problem. So there's what happened is like this. He was bitten by a snake. He could have gotten healed by the heretic. Then he would be violating the words of the sages. And whoever violates the words of the sages gets bitten by a snake. So the way Rashi learns the question is that we see that being bitten by a snake is not a problem because you could get healed. So maybe if he violates the words of the sages and he gets healed by the heretic, so what? He'll get bitten by a snake, but he'll get healed. Yeah, but if there's a cure for it, so what's the problem? So my answers. The snake that gets when someone violates the words of the sages, the snake of the sages doesn't have any healing. So even though he had a cure for his snake bite, but there's no cure for the other snake bite. Well, my Habalela Meimar, Ben Dama said that I can prove it to you that it's allowed. He tells Rabbi Shmuel. What was his proof? He says, V'chai ben to live by the Torah and not die by the Torah. It means that when it comes to life and death, you are allowed to do anything to save a life. Rabbi Shmuel, what does Rabbi Shmuel say? That's only in privacy. But if it's in public, then there's a chil Hashem. Then people are going to see and they're going to think that this is acceptable. So then lie. Tanya was talking to Bryce, Rabbi Shmuel. How do we know that if a person is told that he should worship idols, otherwise he's going to get killed? How do we know that he should worship idols and not get killed? It says, worship idols. You should live by them and not die by them. Maybe this is also in public. This is Rabbi Shmuel's opinion. Shmuel's opinion is that all of the halachas, even the most severe, even idolatry, you're allowed to violate if it's in private. Sages argue with Rabbi Shmuel. That's the famous halacha, the three things that a person has to sacrifice his life for. But Rabbi Shmuel's opinion was no, that's only in public, but not in private. Well, okay, good. So we have an understanding of Rabbi Shmuel. We have also understanding of Ben Dama. Amar Rabbi Bar Bachana Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Bar Bachana says in the name of his teacher, Rabbi Yechanan, was a grandson. Rabbi Bar Bachana is a great-grandson of Rav's brother, of Rav's cousin, of Rav's uncle. Right? Chana was Rav's father's brother. It says like this: Kol Maka shemechalna l'aseh Shabbos ein misrabna. Any wound, any illness, any wound that you would violate Shabbos for. You know that on Shabbos, you're not allowed to take medicine for illnesses that are not life-threatening, that are not. Now, there's many different levels of this. Hillel has a chart, I think. Right? No, what was the chart for? The chart was for the brachos on soups. There are charts that it's very complex halachas about medicine on Shabbos. There was a decree that not to take medicine on Shabbos for minor discomforts, because medicines in those days was herbs. You would grind the herbs. So if it's a matter of life and death, then you're allowed to violate Shabbos, and so probably you can grind the herbs. But if it's just a minor discomfort, then you shouldn't be doing things that may cause you to grind herbs. So if you allow you to take medicine, you're going to end up grinding herbs. So those are minor things. Now there's basically three levels of medicine. One is michash. There's probably 5, 6, 7, all types of Allah. Did you do this, Hillel? There's michash, which means a minor discomfort. That's the most strict halachas. Then there's a chayla she'en bei sakana, a chayla that does not have okay, it's not life-threatening. And then there's a chayla that is life-threatening. A chayla that's life-threatening, an ill person that's life-threatening. So then you violate Shabbos. Chayla she'en bei sakana, then you can violate Shabbos with a non-Jew. That's where you get like these partial things. And then the michash, which basically is very strict. Minor discomforts are strict. Well, Rabbi Yechanan says, Kol makash shemechalna Shabbos. Any wound that you would violate Shabbos from, which means the most strict, ein misrafim, you can't use a non-Jew to heal you for this. But the concern is why? An idolater. Because if the person would die, they won't blame it on the doctor. And so therefore we have a concern that the doctor is going to be the one that's going to kill him. And he's going to get away with it. And they won't be able to sue him for malpractice because he was dying anyway. Rashi says that he's arguing on Rav Yehuda that we learned yesterday. It said you're not allowed to even do bloodletting. Bloodletting was just for a minor, it wasn't a serious illness. Now he's saying that Sounds like for things that are not dangerous, according to Rashi, things that are not dangerous, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you are allowed to go to him. Because if he dies, then he's gonna say that he's a lousy doctor. He won't. How's he gonna claim that the person died when it wasn't even dangerous? Must be messed up. But when it is dangerous, then you're not allowed to go to him. Now, Rav Yehuda said yesterday you're not allowed to go to him even if it's not dangerous. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it looks like you're allowed to go to him when it's not dangerous, but you can't go to him when it is dangerous. That's what it looks like. Taisvis, on the other hand, says that no. Taisvis says that he does not argue in Rabbi Yehuda. Any sort of illness, you're not allowed to go. No. Taisvis says no. Taisvis says, Taisvis says like this. Rabbi Yehuda was talking about a person that wasn't ill. That's what this says. So you're not allowed to go to him for bloodletting. That means he's not ill. He just wants to like improve. It's like going exercise type of thing. So you're not allowed to go to him for this. Why? But if he dies, then they're gonna blame it on him. It says, yeah, if someone's not ill, a Jewish person that's ill that dies by an idolater, they'll say he was an anti-Semite and he killed him. It's not going to say he's a bad doctor. They'll just blame it on him. They'll just say he's an anti-Semite, but not say that he doesn't know what he's doing. So, but however, someone that's seriously ill, dangerously ill, you're not allowed to go to him because he may kill him. Someone that's not dangerously ill, you are allowed to go to him. Saying that everyone would agree, someone that's not, you are allowed to go to him because if he dies there, then he's going to say he's a lousy doctor. So he doesn't want the minor illness to ruin his reputation, right? But if he's perfectly healthy, then he's not going to ruin his reputation. They'll just say he's a murderer, and it's not fine. He murders Jews, okay? That's what people, the anti-Semites do. So
you pay for it.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. This applies to both like a established doctor and not established, because
yesterday we made a difference between them. Yeah, and it's over here. It's not being very clear about if we're talking about a doctor, but we'll see. We'll see shortly. Ikadamri, those that say Amarabba, Barbachana, Marbechan, and Kol Maka Shel Cholol in Misrachmem. Maka Shel Cholol means any wound to the torso, to the upper part of the body. To the Cholol actually means the cavity. That means the torso, any of the inner organs. You can't go to them for healing because, like we said, it could kill the person, and then they won't be able to claim that it was his fault. My binai, what's the difference between these two opinions of what Rabbi Yochanan said? One said Machal Shabbos. One of them said Makar Shel Chol. Now, by the way, Makar Shel Chol, you're Machal Shabbos. Wounds to the torso, you're Machal Shabbos. So it's the same thing, right? A wound to the back of the hand, to the top of the foot, is also Machal Shabbos, but it's not the torso. So according to the first opinion, you're not allowed to go to them to the wound to the hand or a wound to the foot. According to the second opinion, you are allowed to go to them. It's only Makashal Chol that you're not allowed to go to them. Now, what's the difference? If it's a wound to the hand, obviously is very dangerous. So that's why we Machal Shabbos for the wound to the hand. The reason is because if he sees that it's not going well, he'll wipe off the cream. Wound to the torso, he doesn't see what's going on inside, right? If he's trying to heal some of the inner organs, so he's not going to be able to wipe it off. He can't see what's happening. But a wound to the back of the hand, they'll wipe it off if he sees it's not healing well. So yeah. One second, we didn't get to the fever yet. Fever's coming up. Hold on. Huh? Wait a second. It's in the next paragraph. Because when it comes to the wound to the back of the hand, the top of the foot, that's considered dangerous. Someone told me because of what's it called? The different types of infection. Anaerobic. If it has oxygen or not. There's types of infection that are worse. And probably if someone got a wound to his hand, maybe it was from his teeth, and that's a different type because he punched someone in the teeth. Anyway, whatever it is, there's types of infection that could be more harmful. I'm not sure exactly why the wound to the hand, the wound to the foot, these infections you can get anywhere, but he says this would be typical. I'm not sure. There's a guy not around, he lived 150 years ago. Julius Prus wrote these books, Talmudic medicine. You ever see these? He wrote them in German, and then been translated by Rabbi Rosner, Shalom Rosner translated. It's really interesting stuff. He compares them to like modern medicine and ancient medicine. It's like a lot of work went into that.
Take longer to heal like the cut, like how it splits open in the mouth.
It takes longer to heal.
Some things take longer because constantly like.
But you could keep moving it.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it doesn't actually say that it's between the fingers. You're right. There's certain things they have to keep it still for like a week. Which I have a mosquito on.
Rabbi? Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have certain spots here where you can't hear me. First of all, the word was anaerobic, which means without oxygen. And those many times are very serious. And what was the point about the hand or the foot that you said?
Apparently, a wound to the hand or the foot is more serious than other wounds. The question is why.
Okay, so I just want to give you the answer. And that's why people don't realize, like if they get in their palm, I got this minor cut. The hand is not just 5 fingers in the palm. They're all connected underneath by sheaths that cover them up and the joints. So the problem is that if someone has an infection or beginning of infection in one part, it can immediately spread to the entire hand very quickly and then up the arm, and they need a.
Right. Okay. Okay, that's good.
The extremities are dangerous.
Right. Shakayach. Amar Rav Zucher Bar Tuvia Amar Rav. Rav Zucher Bar Tuvia says the name of Rav. Kol Maka Shetzricha Oimid. Any wound that needs to be assessed to see if the person's going to survive. Well, Machal Shabbos can be Machal Shabbos. But we were saying before was we were taking the laws of Chil Shabbos, the laws of violating Shabbos, and we were associating that with when you're allowed to use a non-Jewish doctor. Now we dropped that topic for a minute, and we're just talking about Machal Shabbos. So anything that needs a assessment to see if it's going to survive, you Machal Shabbos. Amar Rav Shaman Barabam Rabbi Yechanan. Shaman Barabba says in the name of Rabbi Yechanan, Makas Shel Chalal. Well, I have a different version over here. I have a different version in the Bach. If it's a wound to the torso, it doesn't need to be assessed. It's automatically Yemachal Shabbos. Then he goes on and he says, V'hai Ishtat Samirta. Now the fever, this high fever, that's considered a Makashel Chalal, a wound to the torso. And Machal Natzeh Shabbos. So high fever has that serious concern. Yeah, that's what you were saying. How high is high? So Hill was quoting to me something from the Art Scroll. It says how high? Number 8. 102.
I was surprised that even below 102 they consider it high. It's usually above like 103 today they consider high.
If the fever stems from a known infection of the inner organs, so then even if it's lower than 102, but that's Makkah Shel Cholol. It's going on to the other thing. Okay. Where does the Makkah Shel Cholol start? Where does the wound to the torso start? Well, I think it's from the neck down, right? It's not actually from the neck, it's from the teeth. It doesn't say the teeth, it says from the lips. From the lips inside. Rabbi Lazar asked the question, says Eliezer, inside says Eliezer. What about the molars in the teeth? Give that cushion in Okamaka. The braid dummy, since they're hard, are they considered outside? They don't even the gavoy kaimi, or because they're in the mouth. Kamaka shal chal dummy, they're considered a wound to the torso. Is it the inner part or the outer part? What's the teeth? Like, let's say the gate. The gate is the outside or the inside, right? That's what's the teeth? Amar Abaya, Tashma Abaya says, come and listen. If someone that has a discomfort in his teeth, you should not. Gameya means to swallow. Gameya means to swallow or to gargle. How do they translate there? The Gameya means to swallow. You shouldn't swallow vinegar.
May not sip.
Sip vinegar. Vinegar apparently is healing to the teeth. I thought the pasuk said, I thought it was bad for the teeth, but apparently for healing purposes, it heals.
Maybe it's different types of vinegar because I've heard that apple cider vinegar is very harmful for the teeth because it takes away the enamel.
Right.
So what people do is that they water it down or drink it with a straw.
I thought the harms the teeth is what comes from the avoiding the teeth with the straw. I didn't know that was really. I thought it was it comes from the body. Like that. Anyway, okay.
I'm a trusted source.
As seen on the internet, right?
Yeah.
You can't sip the vinegar. Why? Because it's not a real concern. And it's not a real concern on Shabbos. You're not allowed to violate Shabbos. You're not allowed to. We have the problem of taking medicine on Shabbos for minor discomforts. Remember, we said there's a concern you might grind herbs. So the Gemara explains, this is only because it's a minor discomfort. But if it's very painful, then you would be allowed to be mechal Shabbos, probably because it's considered the wound to the torso, because it's already the inner cavity of the body. Gemara says, Dilma Tana Hecha the Koivle Tuva Cheshtami. You're translating the word cheshes as a discomfort. But maybe the Tana translates cheshesh means that he has a pain, maybe even a severe pain. So you don't know how to translate cheshesh, but how to translate that word. And maybe you're being medayek in that word. Maybe that's not the way the Tana used the word. Tashema, come and listen to Rabbi Yechanan Chosh b'tzapdina. He had a ailment in his teeth. Does it say the name of the ailment? Tzapdina. Oh yeah, the article. So let's see if there's a word for it. Yeah, Rashi has it in French too. Okay.
Where's the doctor?
The doctor's online. Is there a doctor in the house?
Telemedicine.
Right. Tzafdina, he says, some commentators explain that this term originates from the Greek sepidon, meaning decay. Others associated with the root tzadi pei daled, which means contraction or compression. The description of the Talmud indicates that tzafdina is a name for scurvy, which occurs due to vitamin C deficiency. Symptoms include weakening of the gums, loss of teeth, internal bleeding, and anemia. Yeah, that was the sailors thing, because they didn't have fresh fruits. They didn't have everything was like dried canned stuff.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is related, but it's interesting. The most serious affection we always say, which in the old days we call blood poisoning, we call sepsis And sepsis, that's just a term. I don't know what root it is, Latin or Greek or Roman, but it's septina, and sepsis seems to have,
Wow.
sound familiar. I don't know.
Interesting.
Mm.
Interesting. Like the guy told me, stick to your day job. No, I'm kidding. It sounds close. It's what's his name didn't bring this though. Usually he would bring something like that. Sep
Sepsis.
sepsis. It's a
But
C, right?
sepsis. By the way, in evaluating someone's Baruch Hashem, my son's surgery went well, no complications. And thank you for anybody who had extra tefillas for him. Uh, 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 when you evaluate someone for surgery, if there's a medical evaluation being done beforehand, the highest surgical risk is always on the thorax because it contains the heart and lungs, which is exactly what the Gemara is saying here, the chest, so I just want to mention that. Okay, I'm going back to walking my dog.
Okay. So 1 second, let me just finish the sentence. He had this problem with in his teeth. So he went to this woman. Yes, hello.
Growing up, I heard that there's things that kind of like the mouth connects like the intestine. Like if someone like it helps like health, like the mouth helps with the organs and all these things.
Right.
Someone gets an infection in their mouth, it affects it.
Let's see. The Gemara is going to mention something like that. So Azal Gabidu Machisi goes to this dentist, this Roman woman of the Chamsha Umali Shabbat. She does this potion for him for Thursday and for Friday. Amalei, so Amra Law, probably. Amar Law. That's probably what it was supposed to be. He said to her, Lamachar, what do you want me to do tomorrow? I'm not coming tomorrow, it's Shabbos. What should I do? Amra Lei, she says to him, it's not, you're not going to need. I already gave you the thing, you're going to be fine. But let's say I do need. Amra, she said, I'll give you the secret that I use, my secret potion. But you have to swear to me that you won't tell anyone. And then I'll give you the remedy and you'll be able to take it yourself. Do it yourself. Swore to the God of Israel, I'm not going to reveal it.
Whoa.
Galilei, she tells him the secret. The following day, Nafik Drasha Bepirkash, he went and he taught the secret in public, he put it in the front page newspaper. The Gemara asked for Shtabala, but he swore that he wasn't gonna. He says, he said he swore to the God of Israel, I'm not going to reveal it, but to the Jewish people, I will reveal it.
Whoa.
But there's a Chil Hashem. She said she could trust him. Says the Gola Mikara, he told her originally, right after he swore to her and she told him the secret. He said, by the way, you should know that I swore that I won't reveal it to the God of Israel. I didn't swear to the God of Israel that I won't reveal it. It depends where you put the comma, right? Alma, okay, whatever the case is, but he was ready to take a potion on Shabbos. Alma kamak shel holdami, and this is for the teeth. That was exactly Rabbi Lazar's question. Are you allowed to take medicine for the teeth? The machal Shabbos for the teeth, is it considered mak shel chol? Rabbi Yechanan said yes. Tzaftina is different, but tzaftina is a type of disease that starts in the mouth and it ends up in the intestines. Dr. Stein, does sepsis have a specific location, or is it just general?
Sepsis is the end. In other words, it can start anywhere once it becomes that the whole body is infected and at risk. Again, as I say, we used to call it blood poisoning. In fact, if they took cultures from the blood, they find the germs there. That's called sepsis. So it's not the origin, it's the end result.
Right. My simane, How does a person know if he has this? Rami midi bekach, he put something into his, from the Steindotz, it seems that it's scurvy. He put something in his mouth by his teeth, the maisidama, the beidari, and blood comes from the teeth. Imai havi, what does it come from? Mikriri kriri dechiti, from eating very, very cold wheat food. Mechamim desari, and from very hot barley food. Mishuri karsa dahasna, and from the leftover fish that's left in the casa de harsna, these small fish that they would eat with oil. It sounds like a sailor's diet. Karsa de hasna is fried fish. This was a dish often consumed in Babylon, particularly by the poor. It was comprised primarily of small fish fried with flour and vinegar. The origin of the word harsana is not clear, but it's possibly associated with the Syriac term harsana, which refers to a type of fish that dwells in the cavities of submerged rocks. Herring. Yeah. Guppies. Okay. There's nothing wrong with Casa de Harsana. The Gemara talks about that. It's just Yuri Casa de Harsana, the old one, the leftover, together with these other stuff. Okay, my Abdali, what's the remedy that the dentist gave Rabbi Yochanan? Yeah. Yeah, we eat sardines. Right? Those are big compared to guppies.
It's already like fried with the batter, so they're bigger. They're really tiny. I never ate them because
Where's that picture from?
Just was it?
Oh, I thought it was. What's the name of the fish?
The way that I know is mahua.
Mahua?
Yeah, M-A-J-U-A.
Okay. So we have a teretz here. What's the healing for this? Amar Ravacha Brei Rava Meisha Sa'ar, the water of Sa'ar. I guess that means like of the east. Shemen Zayas, olive oil, melach, and salt. That's the healing for this. He didn't say orange juice. All right. Maybe there's vitamin C in the olive oil. Maybe vitamin C in that. I don't know. Marbar Ravashi says, Mishcha da avza begad for da avza. What you do is you take oil from geese and you smear it on with the wings of the geese. Use them to smear it on. Amar Abaya says, I tried all the remedies that didn't help me. Adam Liutaya, until this Arab merchant told me, I see Kashisa Dezesa, you have to take olive pits, tilsa, that have not grown a third. The kalne amaracharatan, and you have to toast them on a new hoe. The davik bay didari, and you smear it onto the teeth. Avdi hachivitzi, I tried that, and that worked. That medicine worked. This is reviews on Amazon. On Rabbi Yochanan, Hechi Abadachi. The problem is the question that we missed in all of this is Rabbi Yochanan said before that any dangerous disease you're not let it go to a non-Jewish doctor. Look at what Rabbi Yochanan did. He went to that matronisa, the Roman matron, to Amar Rabba Barbachan Rabbi Yochanan. If you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos, you're not let it go to one of them to heal. Where it says Adam Choshev Shiny, when he's an important person, then you can't just kill him and not get into trouble. So they're much more careful. Adam Choshev, important person, is allowed to go to one of these doctors. Rabbi Vo was also an important person. He used to hang out by the government, and he would argue with people about religion. And was a person, Yaakov Mina, Yaakov the heretic. Yeah, apparently, I noticed in Tosfos once before that it wasn't this Yaakov of Kfar Sachnia. Remember Yaakov of Kfar Sachnia? We had that. He told what that was. Yitzayim. Was Yaakov Farsachnu. Ein ze Yaakov mina de Perkei Ma'amidin. Tosfos says this is not the same one. This is not the same Yaakov that gave a potion to Rabbi Avo. Because this was Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Avo was much later. But I think, but he says, but this is the one, Yaakov Ish Kfar Sachnia is the Yaakov that tried to heal Ben Dama. Yeah. Okay, so that's the same person. Yaakov Mina Rabbi Avo was a different person. He's we have him also in the Gemara Chulin. The place says before in Daf Yitzayin. Anyway, there was this person, Yaakov Mina, Yaakov the heretic. That's what I guess they called him in town. He put a potion on Rabbi Avo's thigh. V'loi Rab Ami Rabasi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow, Halakha medicine. Is this the?
No, I have several. This just from doc. This is from the doctor's point of view. If the doctor's from, then you have to know all these things. I don't even know the Gemara, but if you look in table of contents, it covers everything from the examiner to the patient to the degree of illness to Mechal Shabbos to all these things.
This is great.
From doctors, there's several. Fred Rosner was, I think, the first one to wrote the book. This is an excellent right there if you look at all these things.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, we don't go to Gemara because Daf Yomi is now the halacha shir. We want to know what's going on.
Okay.
We do a
great.
reference.
That's great. So, if not for Rabami and Rabasi, the lachu l'shaki, that they wiped off his thigh, paski l'shaki, they would have had to amputate his thigh. So, in other words, even though he's an important person, we see that they don't care. This guy Yaakov Mina almost had Rabami had almost Rabbi Avo lose his thigh. Gemara says to Rabbi Yochanan Reifi Mumchaba. Rabbi Yochanan's doctor, that dentist that he went to, the Machnisa, was an expert doctor if you want to lose a reputation. Gemara said, Rabbi Avo Nami Reifi Mumchaba. And Rabbi Avo's doctor, Yaakov Mina, was also an expert doctor. He had plaques in his office that said where he graduated from. It says, Shani Rabbi Avo was different. The Mukme be Mine benafshayo mais Thomas Nafshim Plishtim, because the heretic said, let me get rid of Rabbi Avo, the way Shimshon said, let me get rid of the Philistines. He said, let me die with the Philistines when he tore the whole palace down. He said, that's what I'll do. I know I'm going to lose my job. I'll lose my everything. But at least Rabbi Avo will stop debating with us. Rabbi Avo was one of the debaters. Right. Shmuel.
I don't care about their lives.
Amar Shmuel. Shmuel said, Hai pedata. Pedata is a wound from a sword. Sakanti, that's very dangerous. Machal Shabbos. You have to be Machal Shabbos. This is what Shmuel says. Maya Susa, what do you do? Well, if you need to stop the bleeding, Tachli B'chala, then you use cress that's soaked in, cress is that type of grass, right? That's soaked in vinegar. Lasuke, if you want to heal the flesh, then garda diabla. You take the diabla minkavix, and a type of herb, it's the scrapings of the herb, and you also begir the asna and the scrapings of the roots of the asna. Sneh is a bush, type of bush. A nikra mikalkilta, or the peckings of the garbage. Yeah, sneh. Asna is in Aramaic. And you the peckings of the trash. Rashi says what it means is the worms. Use the worms that the chickens pull out of the garbage. You know, in Shulchan Aruch it talks about using spider webs to heal.
To pack a wound.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
And it says you're not allowed to use spider webs on Shabbos. And I googled it, and of course everything is true on Google. And and they said that it actually works, but you should be concerned with infection, but it will work.
Don't take the spider, but
but it will work to cause it to heal quicker. The spider web.
It's the strength, the tensile strength is insane. That's basically, isn't that similar
it
to?
Didn't sound like the strength of the wrapping of it. It didn't sound like because it's a strong fiber. It sounded like that it causes it to grow the cells to heal the.
But that's what when one uses tape or staples or all those things, they're not healing the wound. You're just juxtaposing the sides to let the wound heal itself from within.
From this, it didn't sound like, oh yeah, spider webs. Well, you could have used a cloth band-aid also. It didn't sound like that it was just holding it together. It sounded like that it actually has something in it that makes it grow faster.
I'm not a maven of spiders.
I'm a Rav Safra. Okay, we could look into all of these things, but let's go further. I'm a Rav Safra. Rav Safra says, "Hi Inva, this boil, Invisa. Invisa is a grape-like boil. Parvanka, the Malacha, the Maisa. This is the messenger of the angel of death. You got to be worried about this guy. Maya Sutta. What's the healing? Tigna viduvsha. You have to take this type of grass with honey. I don't know what it is. Ruda in French. If you want, I'll read it to you from here. We can get some fun out of this. Tigna is it's a kind of plant. According to others, refers to a substance that's fried in honey. Okay, yeah, that's what I had also. In honey, or he says parsley. I thought it was celery soaked in wine. Or carpus, like carpus, parsley. Betilia is an old wine, a strong wine. But meanwhile, while they're soaking, because you have to soak them, right? Lacey inbis basmini, you take a grape that's the same size or the same color, and and you rub it on it, onto this. If it's a white boil, then you rub it on a white grape. Lukmasi. If it's a black boil, then you rub a black grape. Amarava, I simta. When it comes to simta, this is a abscess, like a blister. Pravanka de ishtahi. This is a agent, a forerunner of the fever. Maya Sutta, what do you do for this? The shitin iskutli. You have to snap your finger 60 times against the boil. Bang against the boil. And then you tear the boil crisscross. This is only if the head of the boil has not turned white. But once the head is turned white, then you don't have to worry about this. Rabbi Yaakov had hemorrhoids. Rabami told him, Ravasi told him, you have to bring 7 seeds of ahala. Ahala, I would assume, is aloe. He translates it here as an ice plant. I don't know why he does that. It sounds like he has a thing on this. The Mesembranthium crystallinum is an annual plant that grows in the Judean foothills of the Sharon region of Israel, among stone and walls facing the sea. Its many bladder cells give the plant its sparkling appearance, leading to its common name, the ice plant. Its leaves contain a considerable amount of soda and can be used as a substitute for soap when crushed. Yeah, he's not translating it as aloe vera. He's translating it as this ice plant. Okay, that's a pretty flower, actually. My dragon fruit plant flowered last night. Remember, I wanted you to take a picture of that. Dragon fruit.
Yeah.
They have a beautiful flower, like a foot-long flower.
Which color dragon fruit? The one that's white on the inside, or the one that's purple on the inside?
I think it's white on the inside.
Because there's 2 different.
The flower is really something. Really
Beautiful bouquets.
Oh well.
I don't know.
I don't know how they get it open. It only opens for like 12 hours and then it's finished. Maybe they have a way of keeping. Well, so they take these 7 seeds of this plant, of the al plant, and I'm skipping something, right? Oh, talana. Talana, it has to be red like a worm. And now you have to wrap them up in a collar. And then you should dip it into white naphtha. No, naphtha is like a tar, I'm sorry. Nira barka. Nira barka is a strip of hair. And put it in white naphtha. Beliklele, you should burn it. And then you spread it over the sores, which is in this case the hemorrhoids. In the meantime, you should bring the seeds of a bush. Here he says it's a bramble, type of bush. And you put the crevice of the seed of the fruit against the crevice of the hemorrhoids. But this is only if it's the outer part of the anus where the hemorrhoids are. But if it's deep inside, what are you supposed to do? So lacy tarbat at spirta, you take the fat of a goat, the layiftach that hasn't given birth yet. The lifshar, you melt it. It's not called melt. It's melt. Lishtar bay, and you put it onto the infected, to the irritated area. If it's impossible to do this, you take 3 pumpkin leaves. You burn them, and you spread it. The pumpkin leaves are dried in the shade. You burn the leaves, and then you spread it over the irritated area. Can't do this. You bring snail shells. If you can't do this, you bring wax oil. He says it's oil mixed with wax, but they probably say wax oil. Why? Why do they make that difference? Kira means wax. Latin Zara, or Greek keros.
Oil and wax.
Oh, they have that? Okay, that's right. Okay. Linka bishachki, the kitna bekaita, and you put it in worn out clothing in the winter, worn out flax clothing in the winter. And I'm sorry, kaita is the summer. The gufna bisisfa, and you put it in cotton in the winter. And you put it on the irritated ear. Rabavo chashbudne, Rabavo suffered from pain in his ear. I relay Rabbi Yochanan, Vamila Beit Midrash. They gave him instructions. Rabbi Yochanan, and some say the base measures. My early, what did they tell him? Yadam Rabaya, probably what Abaya said. Amrliaim, that my mother told me. No, Abaya's mother passed away, so this was his wet nurse. Ivri, I think we have to stop by here. Let's stop by Rabbi Chashbudnik. Rabbi had an ear pain. We'll leave it right there. Okay. Have a good day, everyone.